8:20 now on Breakfast. A Derry man who was infected by contaminated blood says yesterday's announcement that victims are to receive payments is a welcome step in the right direction. The Health Minister says the amount will vary from £4,000 to £8,000. A review into an overall package of support is underway. An estimated 4,000 people across the UK were infected and thousands are thought to have died. With allegations of a cover-up. No one in government or the NHS has been held to account. We can talk now to Paul Kirkpatrick from Derry, who has haemophilia, and he was at Stormont for the announcement yesterday. Good morning to you, Paul, and thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning, Elaine.
What did yesterday's announcement mean to you personally?
It's a small amount, to be honest. If you look at it, I think it doesn't create parity with the rest of the UK as we'd expected. There's major issues, and really what we're looking for, until there's support for widows and those bereaved, there is no parity, and yesterday's announcement didn't bring that. And that's disappointing, but it's work in progress.
Yeah, so it's a step forward, but not far enough, and there's more to do in your view?
Oh, there's a lot more to do. Today we're going over to the Cabinet office to meet the Cabinet Minister, where there's the Theresa May and Boris Johnson call for parity across all four devolved nations, and we're trying to achieve parity there. But in the meantime, Northern Ireland lags well behind the other countries. Yesterday's announcement goes a small way to help, but still a long way to go.
Paul, if you wouldn't mind, would you tell us what happened to you and how you became infected?
Okay, so I'm a severe haemophiliac. It's a lifelong condition. It's a genetic condition. You're born with it. So approximately in 1983, I was given factor 8, which is a clotting factor to prevent internal bleeding. And some of the products I received contained the hepatitis C virus and potentially the AIDS virus as well. So we were given, since 1983, we were infected with a virus. It was detectable, measurable, about 1993, and it wasn't until the year 2000 that there was treatment available to try and clear it.
And what did that then mean for you and your life and your family's life?
It's been a very difficult period because, first of all, when you're 18 and you're told you're going for AIDS tests, in the 1980s it was a very different era than we're in today, so everything had to be kept quiet. You didn't discuss it. When I went to university, I know that there's people that simply kept their distance from me because they were afraid of getting infected. So I got clear of AIDS, and then was notified that we had hepatitis C and the potential of infecting others was there. So when I had children and family, I had to be very careful that my blood didn't contaminate anybody else and co-infect my wife or my children. So you're living a life of hiding it while trying to protect others at the same time. So it's very difficult. Mm-hmm. The side effects of the treatment weren't pleasant. And unfortunately, it didn't work first time round. I had to go a second time round. And this is era after era. And then in the 2000s, we're also informed there's potential we may be CJT carriers, and as such we're deemed a health risk assessment for the community. So there's always something in and again there's more and more as they open the box. There's more and more things coming out, both health wise and support wise.
Just relentless, really.
It is. So the story never seems to end, unfortunately.
And in terms of this money, it's not a huge amount of money, Paul, and I'm sure for all of you, it's not about money. Is it about recognition? Is it about someone saying, you know what, you when you are still going through a terrible, terrible thing and it wasn't your fault?
Absolutely. It's a very, very small amount of money, and both the physical and the psychological impact this has had in the whole community is enormous. And you only need to sit with people in the room and listen to the stories and individual stories and how it's impacted them. It is truly horrendous. So money doesn't replace people. A lot of people have died. There was myself and my cousin. There was 3 of us in my family that had haemophilia. I'm the only one alive. Both of them died at a relatively young age. So it's all that fear, and money doesn't replace that fear. Money doesn't replace my brother, and for my sister-in-law, She married my brother, and her lifelong partner is no longer with her, so money doesn't replace any of that.
Mm-hmm. And of course then you were one of the first to give your account at the public inquiry. How do you feel about the work of the public inquiry, and do you feel hopeful it will give you the answers that you need, Paul?
Well, beyond so far so good. The chair of the public inquiry, Sir Brian Langstaff, has said from day one that those infected and affected will be the heart of the inquiry, and he's followed through. He brought the inquiry all the way around UK, so it's not London-centred, and he's done a tremendous job to date, but it's a massive job. This is the biggest scandal in the history of the UK NHS, and as I believe last week I received some information. There's currently 5.5 million documents being reviewed. There's over 100 legal people working in an inquiry team in London, so it's absolutely huge process, and it's touching upon many, many stakeholders. So it's a difficult one. He's trying to do it as fast as possible, because every 4 days people are dying from this illness, and that's tough. So he's trying to get it done as fast as he can so people can get the truth out and understand what went on, while at the same time doing it fast but doing it with depth. Mm-hmm. So we're hopeful. We're hopeful.
And as you said, this was committed to within the New Decade, New Approach document. Are you heartened by how the Minister has moved on this? As you said, there's more to do, but are you heartened by, it seems to be a fairly fast move from the department?
It is and it isn't. So in fairness, we've been working very closely with the Department of Finance, particularly Sue Gray, over the last number of months. And we've met with the Chief Medical Officer and the Department of Health officials, and they promised this would come. Having said that, if I was sitting in England last April, this just happened. So it's taken nearly a year to happen. When Conor Murphy came in as Finance Minister, he's obviously provided leadership and the ability to be able to sign it off. Good that it's happened quickly, but quite disappointed. And what we were told yesterday by Department of Finance has not met the same response from Department of Health, where we were told that we would be getting to bring us up to parity with England, and the announcement last night from Department of Health contradicted that, and there's quite a significant gap between what people in England are getting.
Okay. Well, thank you for joining us and for setting out your own story this morning. We really appreciate it, and hopefully we'll talk to you soon again, Paul, and best wishes in your cabinet meeting today. That's Paul Kirkpatrick from Derry speaking there. One of many who was infected by contaminated blood. The Health Minister, Robin Swann, has said it is expected that further support may be provided before the end of this financial year, informed by a wider ongoing review of overall provision for victims. The interim payments have been made possible by a £1 million allocation to the Department of Health through the Department of Finance's January monitoring round. And the Minister says, I very much welcome this allocation.